Good morning. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late this morning. So, new topic, goal setting. The power of goal setting is the power of why. Remember, state management is the how. That's the basis of the how you do all this stuff, and then everything else that we stack on top of that is all how you do things. But the goal setting is the why. You got to have a big enough why in order to motivate you. The why is your energy. The why is your fuel. And if you get a big enough why, when we talk about creating lasting change, when we talk about interrupting patterns, when we talk about all that stuff, if you get a big enough why, all that stuff happens automatically. When a big enough why happens, leverage, everything else falls into place. So if you get this right, the rest of it kind of happens on its own. You know, when we feel like our backs are against the wall and something is a must, then we figure out how to get there. There's a reason that The Rock has all of his stuff is named $7 or $7, $7. I think it's $7 because he tells the story about when he, was at Miami. He was there with Warren Sapp. He was on his way to being, in the pros, and Warren Sapp took his spot. He went into the pros and didn't go anywhere, so he ended up in Canada, and then he got cut. So he got on a plane back to Miami, and his dad was a professional wrestler. Actually, I think he just made a movie that's about his dad and himself as a young kid. He flies back to Miami, and his car broke down, and his dad had to come pick him up, and he had a family at this point. And he had $7 in his pocket. And he said, I thought to myself, I'm supposed to be like buying my parents a house at this stage, and I have $7. And he names everything $7 so he can remember having his back up against the wall, because that's been his motivator ever since. When he went to Hollywood and said, I'm going to be the biggest movie star there is, he said every day he got up and remembered that day when he had $7, because that was his motivator to do this, that he had no idea how he was going to do that. How am I going to be the biggest movie star in Hollywood? But he knew why he was going to do that. And he did end up being the highest paid movie star in Hollywood. Goals are creating the future in advance. Now, how does it work? Well, we really don't know. Nobody is sure how all of this happens, but we do know that thoughts are things. We've proven through physics that the vibrations that you send out are the vibrations you get back, and that your thoughts are part of that. If your vibrations are things aren't going to work out, well, then that's the vibrations that you're going to get back. But if your vibrations are somehow I'm going to figure this out, then that's the vibrations that you're going to get back. Einstein agreed with that. Yale did a study in the 1950s with their graduating class, and they found that 3% of their students had written out goals with timelines for their achievement. And when they came back and visited those students in the 70s, so they waited 20 years, the students reported that the ones that had written out goals reported that they were happier, had better relationships, they had all of that stuff. But what was really tangible is in every class, the 3%, it was kind of interesting that it was 3% in about every class. The 3% in every class was worth more in financial terms than the other 97% combined. So goal setting is your fuel, and it creates your results in advance. It's telling you the targets that you want to hit. We don't know why it works, but we don't know how it works, but we certainly know that it works. And when it's time to set goals, you need to put yourself in a peak state. But the big thing that you need to do is you need to think about, not acting like an adult. You need to be like a kid at Christmas. And kids at Christmas don't have limitations. And the reason that you need to do that is because that's going to be the type of thing that motivates you. One of the things that happens to people when they decide to do goals is they think practical, especially when it comes to something that they might personally want. Maybe they personally want to learn how to sing, or they want to play the piano, or they want to paint, or whatever. But if they deny themselves that luxury, part of them is never going to evolve. Howard Stern talks all the time now about how when he started really transitioning into the person who he is today, it was when he started painting, because he started finding that expression of himself. The person that he was before was really not the true him. It was a character that he created because what he cared about was ratings. And that character initially got him ratings, but then later on in life, that character, caused him pain. It embarrassed him that he had said the things that he had said on the air, and he had to go around and apologize to a lot of people. And he tells a story in his book about apologizing to David Letterman. But his painting is what allowed him to find that portion of himself to be able to go do that. So when we set goals, we got to be like a kid at Christmas. We need to have things that really will motivate us every morning. And we also have to remember that whatever that deep, dark desire is inside of us, we got to let it out. We got to let it happen. We have to let it come out and express itself, because that's going to be part of our true nature and allow us to expand and become the persons that we're supposed to be. Finally, with regards to goals, once you get them all down, then they need to dovetail. They need to support each other. I gave the example the other day that if you want to be a billionaire by 35, but you want to have 5 kids and be the greatest parent ever, there's a time element to both of those things, and you got to reconcile that. That doesn't mean that they can't both happen. It just means you gotta think about that when you sit down and do it. So we're not going to do a goal setting workshop today. What I am going to do tomorrow on Saturday is spend a little bit extra time, and we're going to talk about how to do goal setting. And then if you want, you can do a goal setting workshop right when that is done. Because obviously you need to do that while it's happening. But remember this. There might be nothing more significant in your life than when you sit down and write out your goals. You can either develop your own plan for your life or become part of somebody else's. And when you write your goals, you're developing your plan for what you want to do for your life. You're deciding this is what's going to happen. And goals need to be written, and they need to have a deadline. The difference between a goal and a dream is a goal has a deadline. It needs to have a date for when it's going to be completed. That analogy of the plane flying from Chicago to Los Angeles, we use it again and again and again because it's so effective. They know exactly what their outcome's going to be and when it's going to happen. That's what needs to happen with your goals. Don't care about the how. You care about the why, not the how. But understand there's magic when you're creating goals. There's literal magic. This is creating the future. And anybody who's accomplished anything tremendous that we look back on and said, how did they do that? They set out to do that. Steve Jobs set out to put a dent in the universe. Elon Musk set out to change cars and rockets. I mean, when he sold PayPal and had $100+ million in his pocket, he put all those chips back on the table because he said, this is not why I'm here. I'm here to do X, Y, and Z. Walt Disney said that he was going to have a theme park that was going to be the greatest thing ever, that people were going to come all over the world to come and see. And everybody told him he was crazy until he did it. And then everybody said, Walt had a great phrase, it's fun to do what's impossible. And he had that up all over in his office. It's kind of fun to do the impossible. And Walt did the impossible again and again and again and again. So when you're creating goals, you're doing the impossible. Don't worry about the how. Don't worry about being practical. It's the impractical goals that are going to motivate you. Tomorrow we'll go through the steps of a goal setting exercise. But for today, get excited. Get prepared. Think about, start running through your head. If you could do anything in your life, what would you do? If anything was possible, if the genie came out of the bottle as you were walking on the beach and it gave you all your wishes, what would those wishes be? And that's what you need to be ready to do when you go to a goal setting exercise. Have a fun day. This is a day for play. This is a day to fantasize, okay? And don't say win the lottery, all right? That's not going to be one of your goals. If you want to make money, then go do it on your own. Don't think about winning the lottery. Think about what are the things that you want to create? Who do you want to help? Who do you want to go see? Where do you want to go? What's the stuff that you want to do? That's the power of goal setting. Have a fun day. Have a great day. Thank you very much for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.